Here is a video of iShowSpeed getting a drone delivery in Shenzhen, and here is a video of me getting that same drone delivery in Shenzhen. Here is a video of iShowSpeed seemingly driving through water, and here is a video of me driving in that same car through water. So does that mean that iShowSpeed and me and many other people filming from within China are just spokespeople, a mouthpiece for the CCP, for Chinese propaganda? Well, yes and no. Guys, continue watching this video as I explain what's going on in China and Chinese social media. Hello everybody, my name is Toby. This of course is Toby's Takeaway. Welcome back to the channel. First of all, I'd just like to thank everybody, including all the new subscribers, for watching the videos recently. Got a lot more views and I really do appreciate you guys watching these videos, so thank you very much. 谢谢大家. Now let's get started with this topic. So basically I've noticed that there are always going to be those anti-Chinese influencers, anti-China influencers, and one of the things they pick up on, and I've actually seen this video literally saying this, is that look at all these guys within China, look at their videos, they hit the same spots, they basically say the same thing, and that, according to them, just proves that we are all mouthpieces of the CCP, of the Chinese Communist Party. And then of course recently iShowSpeed was in Shenzhen, a really cool city in southern China, and guess what? Not a long time ago, I too was there, and there were some similarities. For example, in the intro I said the drone delivery and a BYD car, in fact a subdivision of BYD car that's really cool. It's like an SUV that can go through a really sort of deep amount of water. It basically floats. Quite incredible, really. And so a lot of people would say, or some people would say, you know those people who are, you know the people I mean, they would say that proves we're just spokespeople, mouthpiece for the CCP. So I want to basically explain how this works and how social media in China works. First of all, and I don't want to sound patronizing, but it may sound a little bit patronizing to people in the know, but there are so many people who just hate on China, especially within the media, both in traditional media and new media. They just hate on China, and they'll take any opportunity they can, saying ridiculous things like there are no birds in China, or everyone is just a CCP mouthpiece. But I just want to explain the very fundamentals of social media, so bear with me while I sound a little bit patronizing. Basically, social media, unless you just treat it like a family album, unless you're literally just putting photos of your, a dinner out, a date night with your wife, your husband, your boyfriend or whatever, or you're just putting pictures of your kids on Facebook or something like that, unless you're one of those people, if you're trying to make a living from social media, there is that sort of reciprocal relationship that you have. And what does that mean? Well, that means this. I, for example, put out content that I hope viewers will find interesting. They watch that content, and either through, for example, YouTube, there's a creator program where the more views you get, basically the more money you get. Of course, that's slightly complicated because at least in terms of YouTube, the money you get depends on where your viewers are from, what location they're watching from, and also kind of content you're creating. So in the past, if we go back a little bit in time, advertisers, say on TV and so on, the big ticket items at 7 o'clock in the evening or whenever prime time was, that would be more expensive. And now, for example, on YouTube, what's more expensive isn't the big ticket items necessarily, it's more sort of investment and things like crypto and stuff like that. That gets sort of more money per view, if that makes sense. Okay, so that's the first thing. There is a relationship between blogger, creator and viewer, and if you do take it as a job, if you're doing it professionally, either part-time or full-time, then the viewer, hopefully, and you guys the same as well, understand that relationship. And so money is accrued either via, for example, a creator program or through advertising. And maybe later on in this video I will buy something, actually just because I want to buy it, but it'll be an example of how an advert might work. So that I think you guys understand. Instagram, the Kardashians years ago would occasionally on their very popular social medias would wear an item of clothing or a piece of jewelry. and they would be paid by that company to do so. Now later on they got even smarter and invested in those companies or exchanged shares for their advertising, and now the Kardashians, very business savvy, just for example, there are lots of business savvy people, have their own companies, so they're advertising their own products, which makes a lot of sense. But that's a very basic understanding of how social media works. I'm sure you guys knew that, but I wanted to say that at the very beginning because a lot of people will take any opportunity they can and say that anything that's coming out of China is just fake or you're being paid by the government. Next, let's talk about the government. Let's talk about the Chinese government. Is it one body, one huge body, perhaps in a committee room in Beijing, that decides to pay iShowSpeed or Tobii? This is just an example. I realise we're not on the same level. In any circumstances, we're not on the same level, but just as an example, that there's some committee or some person that decides, let's pay this person or let's pay this person to go around China and basically say nice stuff about us. Let's say that exists. You really think that exists? Well, I'm telling you, that does not exist. There is no such committee. That does not exist. There are accusations around the other way around. One of the accusations for now, maybe not defunct, but certainly the funding, or a lot of the funding, has either gone from USAID, or it's gone completely. One of the accusations against that organisation was that was partly funded to create propaganda, but in the reverse, anti-China propaganda, primarily from the American perspective. Now, I don't know if that's true, but that was an accusation. And then, of course, there are some people that think there is something similar to that, but it's basically putting out a positive message about China. Now, I can tell you that doesn't exist. At least I'm not aware of that. I can tell you that does not exist, or at least I'm not aware of that. Now, what does exist? This is really, really important. What does exist? What does exist is this. You've got to realise that China, being a communist country, but with Chinese characteristics, look up your history books, guys, Deng Xiaoping, in the 70s and 80s. So this communist country with Chinese characteristics works like this. So even though there are many, many nationalised enterprises and operations, local government, like any country, does exist, right? Now let's say, because I started this video by talking about Shenzhen, let's say that Shenzhen has a tourist board or something similar to a tourist board, and it does. In fact, I can tell you that every province in this country, every city in this country, and most sort of parts of a city, or sort of counties you might call them in British terms, also has something akin to a tourist board, and their job is basically to advertise that area. Now, while everyone is screaming, "Oh my God, he's finally telling us the truth. We knew it. We knew that the CCP, the Chinese Communist Party, pays people, say good things for them." Well, first of all, before you get your knickers in a twist, many countries, many cities, and many counties, sorry, I'm using British terms, have that. Literally, there'll be a London tourist board. There's a UK tourist board. There's one for America in many states and many cities, and for America itself and many, many countries. You've seen these adverts on TV. You've seen them in social media. Visit America, visit the UK, visit London, visit China. So that's nothing new, and it's nothing special with regards to China. So it does exist, you're right. Now, Shenzhen, for example, this Shenzhen tourist board, or this, the unit, the body that decides, this guy's playing cards, the body that decides to do advertising, they will get a budget. They will have a budget, right? Now this budget they can allocate to TV, traditional media, radio, newspaper, or to social media. Now everyone knows in the last 10 years or so, even before COVID, but certainly it accelerated during and after COVID, that a lot of traditional media advertising space has been eaten up by social media advertising space. So in China, your Shenzhen Tourist Board, equivalent to Shenzhen Tourist Board, will have a budget and they will decide how they're going to allocate that money. Now, they may give it to iShowSpeed or they may give it to me. By the way, I'm not suggesting that iShowSpeed has taken any money from any tourist boards on his trip. He could have, he might not have. Only he or his team will know that. And actually, I'm interrupting myself here, and I'll get back to this point a bit later on. If he has, or if anybody else has, so what? That's why I wanted to explain the relationship at the beginning of this video about creators and viewers. You know, if you're doing this professionally, either full-time or part-time, it's not cheap buying camera equipment. It's not cheap traveling around China or traveling around the world. You know, it takes money to be able to do that. Now, to get back to my point, your Shenzhen, the equivalent of your Shenzhen Tourist Board, will allocate money, TV, radio, newspaper, but also social media. And they may say this influencer is primarily focused on, for example, tech, right? High tech. And Shenzhen, being the tech city, pretty much the tech city, alongside Hangzhou and a few other places in China, is tech city. I like this influencer, I like his message, and he's a tech guy. So I'm going to invite him to go, for example, and film our drone station or our robots or our really cool cars and go through water. And I'm going to pay him $1,000 to make a video about that. That could and does happen. And there's nothing wrong with that. Literally, any country, any city, any province, any county in the world, if they have the budget, will do that. They're hoping to bring people into Shenzhen, either tourists into Shenzhen or a business investment into Shenzhen. And that's how the company and the country works. Same in America, same all over the world. It's not a big deal. It doesn't mean you're a CCP mouthpiece. It means that for that video or that specific time, there is a collaboration. And anyone in social media will know what collaborations are. There's a bit of to and fro between, hey, can you film this? Can you do this? And the influencer or the influencer almost said collaborator, and you guys would love it if I said collaborator. The influencer might say, well, no, I don't want to say this, I want to say that. So the two parties come to agreement. They make a film, they make a video, they put it on their socials, and they get paid for that. That is how these things work. You guys know that. And what I want to make very, very clear is it happens in China, but it happens anywhere and everywhere in the world. So when I said at the beginning of this video, the yes and no, the yes part of we're just a mouthpiece for China or for Shenzhen in this particular instance, yes, absolutely, it is possible that somebody can be paid to do that. However, and this is another really, really important point, and I want to make it. And again, I don't want to be sued by iShowSpeed. I don't know whether he's being paid or not. And actually, if he's being paid, good luck to him. You know, he spent a lot of money to bring his team, his bodyguards, all over China, flying, renting cars, and so on and so forth. I hope he does make some money from it. He's a really enterprising young man. He should make money from working hard. Now, to get back to my point, I keep interrupting myself, guys, but I'm so excited and to any extent agitated because, of course, I'm in this industry as well. Let's talk about someone who goes to Shenzhen, right? Let's just say you're a tourist in Shenzhen. Let's just not say you're an influencer. Let's just say you're a tourist in Shenzhen. It's the tech. I've already said it's one of the big tech cities of China. So what are you going to do there? Are you going to go and see the robots? Yes. It's one of the big things coming out of Shenzhen. Are you going to see the drone delivery? Yes. Again, it's now a tourist attraction. It's now a tourist attraction in Shenzhen. Are you, if you get the opportunity, going to have a test drive in a car that can drive through water? Hell yeah. I'd like to try that. That sounds fun. So you're going to hit those three things, aren't you? For example. Now, the fact that there are going to be some anti-China influencers, anti-China bloggers who basically say that any influencer filming those three things proves that they've been given a route, proves that they've been given a script to put out a positive China. That's rubbish. It doesn't prove anything. It doesn't prove anything. And I'll give you an example why it doesn't prove anything. If you go to London, United Kingdom, London, as a tourist, will you go and see Big Ben? Will you see the Tower of London? Will you visit the London Eye and perhaps go on it and from there probably make a video from it? Will you go to Buckingham Palace? Yes, absolutely you will. If you go to New York in America on the East Coast, will you go and see the Statue of Liberty? Yes. Will you go to Times Square? Yes. Of course you will. Be crazy not to. They're world famous monuments. So you would go there. Anything interesting, different from other places, you would go and visit them. So to suggest that proves somehow that we're all mouthpieces for some, and the insinuation always is that it's some like wicked organisation. No, it doesn't prove anything. It doesn't prove that at all. So I want to make that very, very clear. Now, you may be asking yourself, if you've got this far in the video, I thank you very much. I really do thank you, because I've rambled a lot, but it's a really important topic. You may be asking yourself, what does this guy, an Englishman in Chengdu, know about Chinese social media? Well, I would say, I'm going to put it out here right now, I'm going to say there is no foreigner, no international person that knows more about Chinese social media than me. They may know about the same, but there's no way they know more about it than me. Now you're going to look at my YouTube channel, you're going to see there's about a few thousand followers say, what does this guy know about social media? Well, okay, I may not be the best at social media, but at least Chinese social media, I know a lot about it. YouTube, do need to get better at. But Chinese social media, I know a lot about it. Across all my channels on social media, I've got over 1 million followers. And I've worked with tourist boards, with companies to sell products. I've done it all. I've live streamed, I've made videos. So I do know a lot about Chinese social media. So those are my credentials. If you have any Chinese friends, or if you're able to watch Chinese social media, you can check out my social media channels there. I didn't say I'm the best at it, but I do know a lot about it. So those are my credentials. So I wanted to get this video up because I got a feeling that iShowSpeed's tour is probably coming to an end. His China tour is probably coming to an end soon. In fact, there are rumours that he was going to join Wrexham Football Club. I know he's very fast, but I didn't know if he was any good at football. And if he does that, I guess he's going to take a break from streaming. But certainly his China tour at some point has got to end, right? And I wanted just to point it out that is how social media works in this country, and it doesn't prove that either he or I or anyone else filming from here is somehow some kind of mouthpiece. In fact, I'm not going to reiterate everything I've just said, but I think hopefully I've made some good points. And feel free in the comments below if you disagree or agree with what I've said, to put comments down below. I just wanted to get this video out because I think it's a really important topic, and I know that for as much good as iShowSpeed has done, and he has done a lot of good, he's going to get a lot of hate and a lot of criticism for this trip as well. But honestly, you know, I think he came here with the intention to stream and, you know, expand his audience, but a byproduct of what he's done has been a real revelation to a lot of people. They've seen the real China, they've seen it streamed live, so I think that's wonderful, but it's a byproduct. And to say somehow that he or I or anyone else are just mouthpieces, that, you know, we're just propaganda mouthpieces for somehow, and the insinuation is always that there's an evil controller, puppeteer behind us, is just wrong. And hopefully I've explained that to you guys today, and hopefully I've done that in a clear way. You know what, this street is great, but there's always shops closing and new shops opening, so there's always a bit of noise. Alright guys, I hope this video has made sense. I really do appreciate you guys watching. If you have any questions or comments, please put it down below. Yeah, and that's it. As I said, the journey continues. Good luck to iShowSpeed. I think he's done a really wonderful job opening the world's eyes to China. Maybe he didn't do it on purpose, but it's definitely been a great byproduct of his visit here. Hopefully you guys have learned a little bit about how Chinese social media works. Fairly similar to other countries, slight variations, always with Chinese characteristics. And that's it, guys. If anybody's interested in sponsoring a video, said all that just for that line, please let me know. No, guys, I'm only joking. Thank you very much for watching. But from me, Toby, in China, Toby's Takeaway. That's a wrap. 谢谢，再见，bye bye. Yeah. For me? Thank you so much.
Hey, what's your from?
I'm from England. Is this a Chinese flag?
Yeah.
Thank you so much. That was really nice of you.
Welcome to China.
Welcome to China. Thank you so much.
Be happy every day.
Thank you. I should be happy every day. Thank you. Thanks, buddy. Thank you. Look at that. Got a nice little flag. And I've been told to be happy every day. You guys aren't going to believe me, are you? You think that was staged? I promise you, I promise you, you can sue me if you find otherwise. I promise you, I didn't stage that. I promise you that just happened. It's almost unbelievable. It's almost too perfect. Now what I need to say is that those influencers who say there are no birds in China, like a bird would swoop down. No, I've not been that lucky. This is already brilliant. Guys, let's end it there. Be happy.